It's Saturday, March 3rd, 2018. This time is described as being like the days of Noah. Starting out in Genesis 6 and verse 3. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Bluestone River, it's a tributary of New River. It flows through Pipestem State Park and Bluestone State Park along the way. And moving along, let's take a look at Genesis 6, verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So as we think about current events and all the news that we've heard with different school shootings and other shootings like Las Vegas a few months ago, the rioting that's happened in different cities, and all the people who are in an uproar, these times are much different than even just a few decades ago. When the Great Falling Away started, roughly 30, 40, 50 years ago, and has really intensified, especially in just these last several years. Picking up in verse 12, And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So thinking about all the deception, spiritual wickedness in high places, and chaos surrounding the many various scandals and things that have been happening in our time. And we know the Bible warned us that in the last days perilous times would come. Picking up in verse 14, Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shall thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. God's instructions to Noah about how to prepare to escape what was coming upon the world in his time. As God purged evil from the world with the great flood of Noah's day, and although he promised not to have any more global floods, the Bible warned from God that there would come a time when the earth would be destroyed with fervent heat, eventually. But there are still many things along the way from here to there. The earth isn't yet at the point where it's going to be destroyed by fervent heat. We are at the point where the rapture will be happening just any day. So as you may remember, the rapture is a time, the opportunity to escape the things that are coming upon this world regarding the tribulation and the great tribulation. Just as Noah and his family, the believers on earth at that time, were taken out of harm's way by being obedient to Christ and before destruction. The Bible foretells that the tribulation years will be the worst in world history. Basically, there's going to be worldwide famine, disease, corruption like never before. Taking a look at Matthew 24 and verses 37 through 39. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So just like we see today how people are busy, focused on their daily activities and all the plans that they've made for this life, so many have neglected to turn their lives over to God. Taking a look at 2 Timothy 3, starting in verse 1, this so also, that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. Looking at verse 7, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. And in verses 12 and 13, yea, and all that will live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. In 2 Timothy 4, verses 3 and 4, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. As we can see, that's speaking to the times that we're currently in, where people are encouraged to just believe whatever they want to believe, embrace what they want to embrace, and to do their own thing, and to not really give thought to others. This isn't what the Bible told us to be doing. As we know, there's only one way to heaven, and that's through Jesus Christ. Taking a look at 2 Thessalonians 2, starting in verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So much of what's happening now, leading into these tribulation and great tribulation years, and what will be happening in these horrible years that are coming upon the earth, is deception. Many will be deceived into doing whatever they think they need to do to get by in this world, as that's where their focus will be. When this world goes to a cashless society, there'll be many who voluntarily step up to take that mark so that they can buy or sell. When it eventually becomes mandatory, some of those who didn't initially take the mark will go along with it to save their physical life or to pay bills or whatever. But everyone, the Bible tells us, everyone who takes that mark will be condemned to eternity in hell. And those who refuse the mark will most likely lose their life for their salvation. So right now is the opportunity to be ready for the rapture. As Luke 21 verses 34 through 36 points out, we're not to be unaware of these times that we're living in, and we're to pray always to be accounted worthy to escape these things that are coming upon the earth. And this seems to be a good point to wrap up this video as we think about our times that we're currently in and how this compares with the days of Noah, just like God said it would. Take care, and God bless.